Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. So today is going to be the first of my Summerween vlogs. If you don't know what Summerween is, it is a readathon hosted by Gabby Reads and Olivia Reads a Latte, where it is Halloween in the summer, so we read horror and thrillers and spooky books, and it's always so much fun. I did a bunch of vlogs for it last year and I had the best time. I'm gonna be posting vlogs for every 2 days of the readathon, so you can participate alongside with me, and I'm so excited. I have literally been thinking about my TBR since Summerween was announced, and I'm very excited about what I have planned. So let's just go over what I could potentially read. This isn't like a solidified TBR, these are the exact books I'm gonna read, but they are a couple things that I am very interested in. I'm also planning on going book shopping this week, so I might be able to find some new horror or thrillers that have come out. I know I'm getting some book mail of some things that I could read, so I'm kind of just gonna go with like the vibe and my mood, but I do have a stack of books here that I have been saving for Summerween that I would like to read. So we'll go through these, talk about them, talk about what the challenge prompts are for Summerween. I have not looked at them yet, so I don't know if I actually have books that will fit all of the challenges. I think that I will, because usually their challenges are pretty easy to use. But okay, let's just go through these. First up, we have Tender is the Flesh, which is a translated horror book about like the meat industry, meat plants, but in this world they are breeding and raising humans to then slaughter and eat. It sounds very disturbing and disgusting, but I think it will be very interesting. I have heard really great things about it, and this is one that I've been specifically saving for Summerween. And one of my goals this year is to read more translated books, and this is one that is just recommended all the time. So that is one that I definitely want to get to. Next up, I have a Christina Henry book. It's kind of a tradition now that always during Summerween I read a Christina Henry book. Last year I read Near the Bone, and I really loved that. This is The Ghost Tree. It says that it's set in a small town where residents are going missing, and the only clue to their fate is one teenager's terrifying vision. She has a vision of a monster dragging the remains of the girls through the woods. I don't know, that sounds really good. I've read 2 Christina Henry books and loved both of them, so this is one that I would like to get to. Then I have a book that's actually a collection of short stories. This one is Man-Made Monsters. So this is YA horror. It's a collection of short stories following a Cherokee family through multiple centuries, and it's supernatural horror. So there's different stories about like zombies and vampires and werewolves, and I think what I'm gonna do with this one is read a couple stories every single day. I have not heard anything about it, so I'm kind of going into this one with 0 expectations. Then I have Ghost Eaters. This is a horror book that I have been wanting to read for so long. I feel like I keep putting this on TBRs and then not actually getting to it. This is about, I think, a drug that people take in order to see the ghost of like their lost loved ones. I don't know, I've heard great things about this. This is also just like one of my favorite horror covers. This cover is just so unsettling. Then I have Hex, which is another translated horror book. This is one I definitely want to get to, and I've also heard amazing things about this. This is about a little town that is being haunted by this witch. A bunch of teenagers decide that they want to like track down the witch and make this viral video that ends up having dire consequences. And then lastly, another book that I have been saving for Summerween, also kind of a Summerween tradition, How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. Last year I read my best friend's exorcism during Summerween, and it ended up being my favorite book that I read that week. So I have kind of been saving this book for Summerween. Yeah, so this one is obviously about a haunted house. I don't know much else about it. I do know there's puppets involved, which I don't know how I feel about that, but we'll see. So that is my stack that I have. Like I said though, I am planning on going shopping, and I know that I'm getting some books in the mail, but I think I would like to prioritize these. So let me pull up the challenges, because like I said, I don't actually know what they are, but I think I will be able to make some of these work. Okay, number 1, read a book in the dark, which will be easy to do. I think that was a challenge that they had last year, because I remember I had a whole segment in one of my vlogs where I read horror in the dark, and it was always very fun, very traumatizing for me, but content-wise, very fun. So I'll have to figure out which one of these books might be the best to read in the dark. Number 2 is to read a thriller, which, as far as I know, none of these are thrillers, they're all horror. Number 3 is read a book that takes place in the fall. I don't know if any of these take place in the fall. It's possible that they do. None of them specifically take place in the fall that I know of. Number 4 is read a book with orange or black on the cover. This one has orange and black. So there we go. I've got one challenge down. And then the last one is to read a manga, graphic novel, or a novella, which I also do not have. This might be considered a novella. It's 200 pages. I'm not 100% sure what the page count of a novella is. I'm gonna count this. 2 out of 5 challenges I've got. Reading in the dark I will be able to do. One of them might take place in the fall, and I need to find a thriller. But other than that, I think we're good. We need to decide what I'm gonna start today. And I think what I'm gonna do to determine that is read the first chapter of all of these, and we will go from there. I am gonna take this one out because I will be starting this day regardless. I'm gonna go quickly read the first chapters of these 5 books, and then we will figure out what I'm reading today. Hello, Loki. What's up? I finished all of the first chapters. Oh my god, all of these first chapters were so good. I think that was a mistake. I think the only one I'm ruling out like right away is Tender is the Flesh. Not because it was bad, like the first chapter was actually really good. I just feel like this first chapter already opened up and it was like very disturbing. And I feel like I need to ease myself into this with like the horror. I'm not gonna start on what I think is gonna be the scariest or like the most disturbing. I think I need to work my way up to that. Okay, then I think I'm gonna rule out The Ghost Tree. Again, not because it wasn't interesting. I love Christina Henry's writing. Just not much happened in this first chapter, but it was still good. Then we have these 3. I think next I'm gonna rule out How to Sell a Haunted House. This one again opened up with a first chapter where not much happened. These 2 first chapters started like with the kind of horror right away. So this one is about the main character and her boyfriend. They are in a cemetery and they decide to take acid, and then they just like start seeing things. The cops come after them. They have sex in a grave. The main character is like tripping out. It was a very like trippy first chapter. Hex was also a very good first chapter, but I don't know. I feel like I want to continue this one the most. So I think that's what I'm gonna go with. So today I will be reading Ghost Eaters. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to finish it today. And then I'm also gonna read a couple stories in Man-Made Monster. So I have now made it to part 2 of Ghost Eater. I'm 80 pages in. I'm really enjoying it so far. So basically this first part is really setting up this situation. So after that prologue, the main character, her ex-boyfriend, was in rehab for drug use, and she's on like a blind date, and he calls her up and is like, I gotta get out of here. You gotta come pick me up from rehab. I can't be here anymore. Kind of talks about how he has this like pull over her. His name is Silas. So she says it's like Silas says, like Simon says. So Silas says, jump, you jump. So pretty much she kind of has this like toxic relationship with him where she just does anything he tells her to do. So their friends kind of come together to do this intervention for him that ends up obviously going terribly. And then he calls her and leaves her a voicemail that is very bizarre. He says, there are things I can't tell you. This isn't going to make sense yet. I want you to find me. I know you can. I know you. And then she deletes the message before listening to the rest. Well, the next day, he turns up dead. I'm very intrigued, really liking it so far. And it's reading very quickly. So I'm gonna continue reading that today. But I got this package the other day and I still haven't really opened it. So I thought we could open it together because I think it is a horror book. Here's the book. It's called Moth Town by Caroline Hardiker. This is what the final cover is going to look like. This is just the proof cover. The kids in school spread rumors of missing people, nests of bones, and bodies appearing in the mountains. His sister refused to share what she knew, and his parents turned off the TV whenever he entered the room, protecting him, they said. Worse, the only person who shared anything with him at all, his beloved grandpa, disappeared without a goodbye. Mom and Dad said he was dead. But what about the exciting discovery Grandpa had been working on his whole life? Now 26, David lives alone and takes each day as it comes. When a strange package arrives on his doorstep, one with instructions not to leave the earth, a new world is unfurled book before David, one he's been trying to suppress for years. Oh my god, this sounds so good. Does it say when it comes out? Oh, November. Okay, maybe I will save this. Ooh, I can save this for an October book. That'll be good. All right, so I'm gonna go dive back into Ghost Eaters. Like I said, it was like just getting really good. And then I think tonight I am going to watch a horror movie. And I think the one that I wanna watch tonight, which I don't know if it's a bad idea, but I wanna watch the new Evil Dead, which the last Evil Dead movie literally gives me nightmares. I mean, I love it. I love it. It's so good. But it was very scary. I had to pause for a second because something really funny just happened and I need you to hear it. So I'm listening to the audiobook. I'm in the middle of like a scary scene, or like a scene that is supposed to be scary. The ghost said the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard, so I need you to hear it.
It glides over me before winding around my waist and coiling through my legs. I'm coming for your cooch, coochie, coochie, coo, it whispers.
I'm coming for your cooch, coochie, coochie, coo. I'm sorry, that just, that took me out so much. I have to listen to that again.
I'm coming for your cooch, coochie, coochie, coo, it whispers.
Why is that so funny? I'm sorry, if there's ever a ghost haunting me and they say, I'm coming for your cooch, what the hell is that? So I'm not liking this book anymore. Can I tell you about it? I'm not liking it anymore. I feel like there's definitely something interesting going on. Like, I feel like it could be good, but the majority of it is like the main character having this addiction to her ex-boyfriend and like being obsessed with him, doing everything that he says, taking this drug to keep seeing him and be like close to him. And he's just a piece of shit. He's a piece of shit. So like, I feel like if it had been like she was doing this for somebody who died that she was close to, who was like a good person, who she had a good relationship with, I would be able to connect with that more. And I get it. I get what the idea is, that like Silas had an addiction problem and his addiction was like drugs and like taking things to the next level and like keep like constantly pushing the limit, and her addiction is him. Like, I get that, but I'm just having a hard time connecting because he is garbage. He is terrible. And I'm like, girl, why are you doing all this for him? For what reason? Especially like halfway through there's something that's revealed that I'm like, girl, drop him. Like, why are you still doing this? And she kind of just brushes it off like it's a big deal, and she's just like, anyways. And yeah, like I showed in that little clip earlier, there's moments when it is kind of like spooky and scary, but then there's something that'll happen that's just silly. And I'm like, is this horror? Is this comedy? Is it supposed to be funny? I can't tell the vibe. I feel like it's not supposed to be funny, but it is, like unintentionally. I don't know. I'm not liking it. I don't like any of the characters. I am gonna finish it, but I feel like I'm gonna give it 2 stars, which kind of sucks because I had very high hopes for it, but I don't like it. It started off like up here and it has quickly gone down. I finished Ghost Eaters and actually the ending was kind of good. I kind of liked the ending. So I was prepared to give this like 2 stars, but the ending redeemed it for me. I still feel like the middle part of the book was just bad. Okay, it started off good. The middle was not good. I don't necessarily know that I would recommend this book though, because I don't think the ending was worth it, but it was fine. I feel like it could have been better. There was definitely like parts of an interesting story here, especially because the main character, as she's taking this drug to see ghosts, she lives in a town that has a lot of historical background, and so she was seeing like all of these like historical ghosts and they were like speaking to her. I felt like that was very interesting. Like that could have been a whole story. I just did not care about her and her ex-boyfriend and Silas, and like, ugh, wasn't interesting. So 2.5 stars. I am gonna watch Evil Dead now, the new one, Evil Dead Rises, before it gets dark, because I'm like, that's not a movie you watch in the dark. But I was trying to decide if I wanted to watch the movie up here or downstairs, because downstairs is my good TV that's really big. My bedroom TV is very small and it's just far enough away from my bed that without my glasses, it's slightly blurry. I think I'm gonna watch it up here because Because I don't know, I have this thing where like, if I'm gonna watch a movie that I know is gonna be scary, I'm like, let me watch it on a tiny screen because nothing small can be scary. If it is small and slightly blurry, it cannot be scary. That's just a fact. So here we go. We're watching in my closet. Here it is. All right. Evil Dead Rise, not Rises. Bloodthirsty demons descend on an LA apartment building whose inhabitants include a single mother and her family. Ow! Oh my god, I was not expecting that. She just like literally scalped her. Ripped her ponytail and the top of her head clean off. I finished Evil Dead Rise. I liked it. I think I wasn't expecting to love it because of how much I love the 2013 Evil Dead. This one was good. I liked it. And it was actually scary. Something about the Evil Dead movies just like actually really terrifies me. More so than like most other horror movies that I watch. I don't know what it is about them. I definitely didn't like it as much as the last one. What I love about the 2013 one is that I love the main character. I just really love her. And this one I didn't feel particularly attached to, like the family. So yeah, I mean it was good. I definitely recommend watching it if you want something that's like gonna disturb you. I'm glad I watched it during the day and on my little TV because there were some scenes that I was like, I don't need to see a big version of that. So now I'm going to read a couple stories in Man-Made Monsters. I'm going to start with the first story here, which is called An Old-Fashioned Girl, and it takes place in 1839. All right, so today is now day 2 of Summerween. I forgot to update you guys last night. I read the first 2 stories in Man-Made Monsters. It is so much darker than I was expecting it to be. The first story is about this girl whose tribe and family is attacked by these 2 vampires, and they murder her whole family and turn her into a vampire and then like leave her for dead. And it was very brutal, like the way that they murdered her family right in front of her. I was shocked. It's really interesting so far how we're following these different like threads through the family and through the years. I'm really enjoying that. I'm really liking it so far. Yeah, it's not what I expected, but like it's even better so far. Again, I've only read 2 stories, but I am really enjoying it. So I think today I am gonna read Tender is the Flesh, since this is the shortest one that I have on my TBR, and I have a lot of other work that I have to do today. Yesterday I was able to just read all day, but today I actually have a lot of other stuff I have to do. So I don't want to start one of the longer books, and this is one I feel like won't take me too long to read. And then I'll also read a couple more stories in this. Hopefully these reads today go better than yesterday. I always feel like it's a jinx when I start a readathon. The first book I read I don't like, because then I feel like that is just cursing me for everything else and I'm only gonna dislike things. Ugh. So fingers crossed that today goes better. All right, I am getting ready to go live on my Patreon and do some reading sprints, but I wanted to update you guys. I am 65 pages into Tender is the Flesh, and it's definitely very interesting, very disturbing. It's interesting because my mind is like trying to protect me from what I'm reading, because my mind keeps switching to thinking that these are all like cows, and that all of the descriptions that I'm reading about different body parts being processed and sold as meat to eat, my mind is picturing cows, but I know they're people. Like I know it's humans, but my mind will not let me picture that. So it's a little trippy, very interesting. I keep having to like be like, no, Riley, this is not what's happening. It's hard. I mean, horror books like this are very hard for me to talk about or like explain really how I feel, because like I'm not enjoying it. It's very disturbing, but like that is the intention, so it's doing what is intended. It's doing what it's intended to do. So the writing's great. I'm enjoying it in that aspect, but like not enjoying it because it's obviously very disturbing. But I'm gonna try to finish it up during these sprints, and then I will check in and we could talk about my final thoughts for it, because I am curious to see like the direction that it goes and like what the ending statement is or like idea. Okay, so it's been a very long time since I checked in It's now 8 o'clock. I've just been avoiding wanting to talk about this because I hated it. I'm struggling a lot right now with what I want to rate this, because if I were to rate this on like how disturbing it was, how horrific it was, the horror, like that's all like 5 stars. But I literally hated my entire existence while I was reading this book. It made me wish that I did not know how to read. I wish that I could go back to this morning, to a time when I had not read this book. Let's all have a little moment of silence for past Riley, who did not know the trauma that she was about to get into. Yeah, I mean, the writing was really good. I don't know what I want to rate it. I don't know. I think I'm just not gonna rate it. My brain was working overtime to protect me from this book, to make me like not actually be thinking about it. Like as I was listening to the audiobook, I was literally like disassociating. Like I could feel my soul lifting out of my body. I would definitely read something else by this author because, like I said, writing, great. It did what it was intending to do. I just hated every single second. So while I was on that live, I asked my patrons to suggest a little bit more fun horror or thrillers because I've just been not having a good time, and a bunch of people suggested Home Before Dark by Riley Sager, which I've read Lock Every Door and I enjoyed it, gave it 3 stars. This one, they were telling me, has like Haunting of Hill House vibes. So I started it and I'm actually now 40% into it and I am loving it. I'm actually having a great time. Thank God we have like turned this around. I'm actually enjoying something that I'm reading. So this book is about a girl who, when she was a kid, she and her parents moved into this like old time manor, and they only lived there for 20 days and something horrific happened. And her dad actually ended up writing a book about their experience there, that they were like haunted by ghosts, and the book got very popular. And now she's a grown adult and her father died and actually left her that house. So she is like going back to it for the first time and sort of trying to figure out what actually happened. So yeah, very much like Haunting of Hill House vibes to it. I probably won't finish this one until tomorrow, but I'm glad that I'm actually enjoying something. I think that is where we're gonna end this vlog, and we will start the next one tomorrow. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye!